Alaikum.
How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is to be together on this day.
How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. So we're going to really focus for part of the service on the 4th and 5th graders. Bobby's got his 50th birthday. Put your hand up, Bobby, so we can totally embarrass you. Okay, Mazel Tov. Woo! Okay, your mum's going to give the drush, give us a few words of Torah. She's glowing with nachas right now. We want to just point out a few important people to the 4th and 5th graders. Rena Liebeskind, our Director of Education. Zoe teaches them, okay. Emma assists in the classroom, helps them with all manner of things. We really appreciate all of their roles as well. So take a moment just to check in with the people around you, see who we're in community with tonight. Do that now.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. No?
Hi, everybody. Listen, if there are people that you just had a brief conversation with just now, but you didn't get a chance to really go any further with them, then go find them at the Oneg afterwards, right? There might be people that you're used to sitting with, but it's nice to break out of the old routine and check in with people that maybe you met just now when you were schmoozing. Kate Alexander's from our Board of Trustees. Kate's going to give us a preview of coming attractions. Go for it, Kate.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
There are so many coming attractions. Thank you to Rabbi Malcolm and Cantor Jen for leading services this evening. And thank you so much to the 4th and 5th grade students for lighting our candles, for singing, for participating in the service. Also, thank you to Ann Friedman for sponsoring the Oneg in honor of the aforementioned 50th birthday for Bob Oved. Happy birthday.
I'm going to let him know what it's like to be 51. Like, I'm way ahead of you, Bob.
I can't speak to that. I'm sorry. My appreciation for Chris Tackett on piano, the tech team, the facilities team, and all the talented staff and amazing volunteers who make services possible. Torah study tomorrow morning at 8:30, followed by Shabbat service at 10. There are 2 new JLL projects happening here at Kol Ami. First, Project Zug is an incredible learning platform, and Rabbi will be launching this after services tomorrow. The course that Rabbi Malcolm is leading is Personality Traits, Meet the Rabbis of the Talmud.
So I was preparing for the lesson tomorrow. The material is so sumptuous and amazing and deep and interesting and beautiful. I was just like, I had tears in my eyes. I was like, I can't wait to teach this with these folks. So honestly, it's worth coming.
So you're going to be there, right? Great.
There's like a load of people who already signed up, absolutely.
Good. There's also, if you want to stay in the comfort of your home, an e-library that is live, so feel free to check out the books on offer. A few of the titles are Letters to My Palestinian Neighbor, The New Joy of Yiddish, as opposed to, I guess, the old joy of Yiddish, and Let There Be Laughter. These incredible resources are exclusive to members, so please sign up in the newsletter to access them. The Women of Kol Ami are having their annual Hanukkah and Artisans Market from 9 to 1 this Sunday, December 8th. This vibrant and festive event features all your Hanukkah needs and gifts while showcasing local Jewish artisans' work. If you're interested in genealogy, come to the Southern Arizona Jewish Genealogical Society meeting, also Sunday, December 8th, 1 p.m. in the Katz Family Library. And on behalf of the clergy, the staff, the Board of Trustees, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Kate. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. We are in our prayer book, Mishkan Tefillah, right at the beginning of the book on page 6. On the foot of page 6, may the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness and harshness. May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. Back on page 2, you can find the blessing for candles. I'd like to get any 4th or 5th grade parents, just come up and gather around. It'd be nice to have you as part of this. Zoe, Ember, Rena, let's gather around. So we've got candles for all of the students and the grown-ups in their life. Why should only one person have the fun? All right. There we go. One for you. Don't put the clergy in charge of the fire. It's obviously going to end in tears. And my understanding is that the 4th and 5th graders have learned how to sing the candle blessing, right? Fantastic. I've got plenty more where that came from, Samantha. All right. Anyone else who didn't have a chance? Here we go. Some fire for you. Anyone else need? Right, the spark of the divine, that just keeps on going and produces and never runs out.
Chris. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu le'adlik ner, le'adlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen, indeed. We're going to get your families to go sit back down, and trust me, the students themselves will do plenty of work later in the service, but they can only look good if you make them look good by joining in with them. We're going to sing words from Psalm 95, the meaning of which, come let us sing joyously to Adonai, raise a shout for our rock and deliverer. The words for Lechuna Ranana you can find right there behind me on the screen.
Lechuna ranana, yai lai 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 lai, la Adonai, yai lai 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 lai, Nariah, yai lai 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 lai, Letzur Ishenu, yai guide all of creation from mountain to sea. Hear our song. Lekunarana, ya la 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 la, la Adonai, ya la 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 la, Naria, ya la 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 la, Letzur Yishenu, ya la 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 la, for all of the wonders in all of God's might, we rejoice. So now let us listen with all of our hearts to hear God's voice. Lekunarana, ya la ya la la, la Adonai, ya la 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 la, Naria, ya la 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 la, Letzur Yishenu, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la ya la la, ya la 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 la.
Age 20, please join us to welcome the Sabbath bride, Lechadodi.
Lechadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, lekavela. 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 Shamoy v'zochoy b'dibur echad, Ishmianu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, Shemo tiferet v'lethilah. Lechadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, lekavela. Lechadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, lekavela. Ikrat Shabbat, lechu v'necha, ki mekor habaracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava tefila. Lechadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, lekavela. Lechadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, lekavela. Itorari, itorari, ki va'orech, kumi ori, 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 shedaberi. Kvod Adonai alayich nigla. Lechadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, lekavela. Lechadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, lekavela. Boi v'shalom, tzedek v'alav,
לקראת כלה, פני שבת, נקבלה לך אדוני, לקראת כלה, פני שבת, נקבלה לך אדוני, לקראת כלה, פני שבת, נקבלה לך אדוני, לקראת כלה, פני שבת, נקבלה. You be seated, page 24 for Shalom Aleichem.
I'd like to invite up Zoe to help lead this with me.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni Leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem Leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Thank you, Zoe. Really appreciate it. We are on page 26 for the half Kaddish.
Yikadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yamad v'rachirutei, v'yamlich malchutei,
B'chayechon uvyomechon,
ובחיי דכל בית ישראל.
Ba'agala, ba'agala,
ובזמן חריף, ואימרו
Amen. Yehi shmera b'mefarach, le'am olal me'amaya, yiparach.
יפרח וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה
בריחו.
ואלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה
ושפחתה ונחמתה,
דמירן בעלמא ואימרו
Amen. Page 28, please rise for Baruch Hu. All right. Face this way. Come here and face this way. Face this way.
Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai,
Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai. call on Will here to come from behind the scenes just to help us with this microphone. He's got a case of the droops, really appreciate it. We turn to page 30. Please join in with the Mari Varavim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro Mari Varavim, b'chokhmah poteach sha'arim, ובתבונה משנה עתים, ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים, במשמורותיהם ברקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה, כולל אור מפני חושך, וחושך מפני אור. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה.
ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים.
Middle of 32, we say together, everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed.
36, please be seated if it is your custom as we chant the Vahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננת לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We're going to read together at the top of page 39, and we say, standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Page 40 for Micha Mocha, and please join in with us as we do some of the sign language.
Micha Mocha, Va'elim Adonai. Micha Mocha, Neda B'Kodesh, Nora Tehilot, Osef Eleh, Osef Eleh. Micha Mocha, Va'elim Adonai. Micha Mocha, Neda B'Kodesh.
ונאמר כפת אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
As we enter the dark of evening, we face the unknown. Earlier in Mariv Aravim, we affirm the power that transforms night into day and day into night. Now, we call for protection from the shadows that lengthen around us. Shadows of fear and guilt, the uncharted future, the ever-pursuing past. We ask that the shadow of God's wings envelop us with love and mercy. The unknown night, like the unknown tomorrow, can only be met with faith in the power of infinite compassion to care for us. We continue with Vashamru on page 44, and right, you students, you're going to like twist around, right? But no, you're not, because you can't. You're singing, you're leading, right? So you're going to do that. But other people who aren't in high positions of responsibility can do a full twist, okay? All right, during the refrain. Let's do it.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים
ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת
וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Page 46, please rise for the Amida.
This side and face the other.
Adonai,
שפתי תפתח ופי תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your
praise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואמהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומציל אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו כשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה.
ונאמנת להחיות הכל,
ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
אתה קדוש, שמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Continue the Amida in silence. Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Yamko Yisrael, Yaseh 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 Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Yamko Yisrael. Now, students, you can go and sit back down there. I'm going to bring Anne Friedman to offer a few words of Torah on the occasion of a special birthday for her baby boy.
Oh, I am too short. I need a stool. Good evening. Oh, thank you. That's better. Now they can see me.
You're so good.
This week Parsha is a Parsha Vayatse. That means, and he left. We're talking about Jacob who left. He left without luggage. He just flee. No carry-on, no check luggage, no TSA, no problem. Easy. Go with himself. Anyway, this week Parsha is the story of Jacob. I'm sure that everybody here knows that Jacob left his home. He wandered in the desert. He slept. He had a dream. And we read about the Jacob ladder, his adventure with Laban, who tricked him to marry Leah when he wanted to marry Rachel, etc., etc. I'm not going to talk to you about this. I'm not going to bore you with this. You know the story. Let's move on. Better, right? When I was reading this, what has fascinated me about this Parsha is Jacob's personality, or rather, his identity crisis. And let me tell you why I was so perplexed about this. Last week, you all recall, I'm sure, that we read Parsha Toldot. Do you remember what it was about this? Well, I'm going to refresh your memory. In the heart of Toldot, Jacob stands before his father, asking for a blessing to which apparently he's not entitled. He wanted a blessing of the firstborn. Jacob comes forward dressed as Esau. His father asks him, "Who are you, my child?" It is a profound question, an existential question to which Jacob answers, shaking and saying, "I am Esau, your firstborn child." Jacob claims to be someone he is not. This is the problem. Jacob repeatedly does not arrive to say who he is. Why? Well, let's see why. As a proof, let me reveal to you, like a preview of next week coming attractions. So I talked about last week, I talk about next week. I will talk about this week too. Jacob, during the parasha next week, which is called Vayishlach, Jacob will fight at night time by a river a battle against an angel or a man, that creature will ask him a question that echoes his father's earliest question. The angel asks him, "Who are you? What's your name?" This time Jacob answers, "Jacob." Wow! We can then think, finally he did it. He had come to the point where he can tell the truth about his identity. Yet, immediately, the angel answers the opposite. He said to him, "No, your name is no longer Jacob. From now on, your name is Israel." To summarize, Jacob's life is stretched between these two moments. The moment when he answers Esau, and it is not true, and the moment when he says Jacob, and it's no longer true. Jacob is never who he says he is. He's always a little someone else, and his identity problem is somewhat inside each of us as well. To understand, we need to read the Parsha Vayetze, the Parsha of this week. We are exactly at the moment that is a bridge that connects Toldot of last week and Vayishlach of next week. This week, Jacob is no longer Esau, but is not yet Israel. This true identity search is the core of the story we are discovering this week. In the depth of the night that Jacob experiences during his exiles far from home, this is where this Parsha tells the famous episode of Jacob's ladder. Jacob goes through a desert where he is going to spend the night. He fell asleep and dreams of a ladder connecting earth to heaven, where angel climbs up and down. Upon awakening from this strange dream, Jacob opens his eyes and says a famous sentence which remains mysterious and has been interpreted by many scholars. Achen yesh Elohim bamakom hazeh ve'anochi lo yadati. There is something divine in this place, and me, I didn't know. Jacob has a revelation he recognizes upon waking. However, there is a kind of incoherence in the verse, which is a grammatical incoherence. Achen yesh Elohim bamakom hazeh, God is indeed in this place. Then things get more complicated. Ve'anochi lo yadati, and me, I didn't know. The verb in Hebrew, if anybody knows Hebrew here or learn Hebrew, the verb also implies the person in the conjugation. Then when it says lo yadati, it means I didn't know. There is no need to add a subject to the sentence. The pronoun is clear enough. The anochi, which is the first person in singular, is therefore not needed in this verse. Therefore, it is a doubler. In fact, it would have been enough to say, Achen yesh Elohim bamakom hazeh ve'lo yadati. Why is Anochi added? I, me, Anochi. Rabbi Kotz, who discusses the Zohar, says that here, Anochi is not the subject, but it is the object. Therefore, the sentence should be translated as God is in this place, and I do not know who is Anochi, who I am. I do not know who I am. Rabbinical commentaries explain that God's revelation to Jacob precisely makes him conscious that he does not know who he is. He does not know the person who says, me, I, Anochi. From now on, he can meet God only in the awareness of this mysterious ego he has just discovered in the desert. I believe that Jacob's problematic identity as a conscientious man who he is not, became finally the identity of a person constantly in mutation, becoming, moving, and waiting to become Israel. A person who cannot say, I am, in the present, is a person who has an identity issue. We are all Jacob's children when we continue to say, when we never stop saying who we are. It is like a permanent consciousness, an Anochi lo yadati, that we do not know, and Anochi, who we still do not know who we could become. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, man. That was such a beautiful, close reading of the verse. Really, really appreciate it. I normally rely on my accent. Now I've got to do French. On doit parler en français maintenant. C'est dur pour moi. We're going to take a moment for healing. We have recently added the names of Shlomo Ben Chaya, Lanny Colton, Jessica Leonard, Erin Bates, Catherine Sabin to our healing list. I think it's also important to mention the families of Omer Nutra and Itai Shvisky. Omer realized that he had been killed on October 7th, and Itai Shvisky's body was recovered. Of course, that leaves 100 hostages still in Gaza. We asked people in the congregation to tell us if there's anyone else to add for healing. Someone who could use some extra help. Let's raise their name up. Thank you, Dana. Thank you. See. Dick? Thank you. Thank you. From the online part of our community, we also add the names of Junie Means, Regina, Rivka Bat Esther, Barbara Zagel, and George Foss. Our healing prayer can be found on page 253. Please rise physically or spiritually, hold hands or link arms if you feel comfortable. We sing the healing prayer together.
With refuge
Be seated. So, Anne, I'm going to attack Parshat Vayetze from a slightly different angle and see if we can fit the pieces together. So a few months ago, I confessed I was neo-Hasidic, not actually Hasidic, but taking some Hasidic principles and teachings into my life, using them in a Reformed Jewish setting. So my beliefs don't necessarily jive with the gender roles in Hasidic Judaism, for example, but there are many other important ideas that I really feel can inspire us. So last weekend, while we were sleeping off Thanksgiving leftovers, rabbis from the Chabad Hasidic group were gathering in New York for what's called the Kinus HaShluchim, the conference for emissaries of that group. So a shliach, or an emissary, is a rabbi who settles somewhere in the world and sets up a Jewish community, the work that they do called kiruv in Hebrew, which means bringing someone closer to Jewish tradition. So the rabbi settles in that place with his family. They build a whole Jewish framework, even in the most far-flung of locations. Just when you think you're in the middle of nowhere, suddenly there'll be a Chabad shliach who comes around the corner and offers to connect with you. So you might well have met representatives of Chabad on the street asking if you want to wrap tefillin or offering you Shabbat candles. We have Chabad communities in Tucson. Rabbi Yossi Shem Tov, if you know him, is part of that group. So Chabad, the Hebrew acronym, stands for Chochmah Bina Dat, understanding, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, which are a code for certain aspects of Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism. Don't have time to go into it now, but if you take Rabbi Seltzer's Zohar course, he'll clue you in. The group's also known as Lubavitch, originating in that Russian town by the same name, and the founder was Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi. So, the thing about Chabad's yearly conference is that you can track the progress of the group by searching for the picture of the Shluchim, the emissaries, which they take every year outside 770 Eastern Parkway. That's Chabad HQ in Brooklyn. So at the end of the last century, has anyone ever been there and visited 770 Eastern Parkway? Okay, right, we got like a smattering. Okay, fantastic. So at the end of the last century, the photo contained a few hundred shluchim, and now the wide-angle lens struggles to contain over 5,000 participants. So I'm telling you all of this because even though this is a Reformed synagogue, I want us to engage in one crucial piece of Jewish life as if we were shluchim, as if we were emissaries, and I'll explain. Now, tomorrow in our Holy Torah, we'll read words from Parshat Vayetze. Vayetze Yaakov mi Beersheva, Vayelech Harana. So Jacob left Beersheva and went towards Haran. Vayifga b'makom, came upon the place. Vayalen sham kiva shemesh, and he stayed there because the sun was setting. V'yikach ma'avnei hamakom, vayasem marashotav, took one of the stones of the place, put it under his head. Vayishkav b'makom ahu, and he stayed there, lay down. So our man Jacob, in the middle of the nowhere, the dead of night, couldn't be further from everything he knows, and in spite of all that, he has his famous dream of a ladder to heaven that Anne mentioned earlier, ascending and descending angels. His realization that this random spot might as well be the gates of heaven, and that brings me back to Chabad. So Chabad Shluchim are sent to places that there are few Jews in to kickstart Jewish life. They're sent to really unlikely places. The Rebbe, the leader of Chabad, used to send them while he was alive. I don't know how it's decided their destination nowadays. There must have been a few shluchim over the years who got news of their destination and were like, I'm not sure I want to go there. I'm not going to name any names of particular far-flung towns. You can use your imagination. But here's the beautiful thing about sending emissaries to random places on the globe. It's based on the idea in Kabbalah and Jewish mysticism that when the world was created by divine light, The light was too powerful to be contained, so the vessels containing it were shattered. And every time we do a mitzvah, Jewish action, we're doing a tikkun, a repair, restoring the divine light to its original perfection. It's also sometimes referred to as redeeming the sparks. So there's no corner of the universe, we are taught, where the sparks of God's holy light are absent. Our tradition teaches us the furthest places of the cosmos, Jacob's resting place that night, the remote destinations of Shabbat Shalom, or the most difficult aspects of our human lives, are all places where Jews can go to redeem the sparks and bring the world closer to perfection. So I want us to understand that actually we can all be shluchim, emissaries, in perfecting the world. Granted, we might look a little out of place in that photo taken in Brooklyn each year. Don't have a black hat and a beard, chances are you ain't getting in that photo, but my point stands. But being a shliach and a emissary, it's all about doing Jewish actions wherever we are, learning Torah, visiting the sick, feeding the hungry, and bringing other people closer to these actions. That's the crucial point. So being shliach is inconvenient. We can do the Jewish actions and redeem those sparks, bringing the world closer to its perfected state, but it's not enough. To be a shliach, we need to get others to do those things. Those shluchim go to places they hadn't planned on ever going to build a whole life there. Now, I'm not saying you need to get up and go and leave and go to some other place. I'm saying that maybe there are some inconvenient things we can do closer to home just by starting small. Offer a ride to services to someone in your neighborhood you know doesn't drive. I know there are people here tonight who did that. Send a Zoom link to someone you hadn't seen at Torah study for a while. Get them involved. Invite someone to your Pesach Seder because you know they've got family nowhere near here. There are so many ways we can bring the world closer to perfection. Last week's Shluchim conference reminded me that while we might not agree with Chabad on a bunch of things, we're part of the same people and we can learn from them. In particular, just like Jacob going to the middle of nowhere, they teach us we must go to the farthest reaches of the planet, just sometimes the other end of our neighborhood, to bring Jews closer to Judaism. So every time we get someone else to do a mitzvah, Jewish action, a good deed or ritual, connects us to a greater power, we redeem a holy spark of divine light and repair the world and bring it that tiny bit closer to perfection. Shabbat Shalom. So listen, I don't know if you've had a good or bad week, but I know there are at least some people in the congregation who have had good things happen to them. So I'd love to hear a couple of people to share some good things. Right? I know the Freemans are celebrating Bobby's 50th birthday. Mazel tov again. I'm going to keep embarrassing you through the end of the service and even past it. Make no apologies for that. Does anyone want to share something good that happened to them this week, even if it's just a relatively small thing? Yeah, let's hear. Okay, so tell everybody, what was the good thing?
Me, Hannah, and Maya would like to share how grateful we are for our very funny teacher and his sleepover that we are having tonight.
Oh, fantastic. That's a great thing to be part of the religious school with a great teacher, Zoe. That's awesome. Thank you so much for saying that. Anyone else want to share something good? Okay. Pass that, Sue. Could I impose upon you to pass that down the road? Thank you so much.
We landed in Tucson for the winter.
Okay. Woohoo! East Coast, kiss it goodbye. Anyone over this side want to share something good that happened? Doesn't have to be an earth-shattering thing. Might just be a relatively... Okay, wow, this row's on fire. It's like when you go watch the Wildcats, I'm going to give you Chick-fil-A if you're not careful.
Ours is earth-shattering. We have a new granddaughter, and she's 7 weeks old, and we just came back from meeting her.
Okay, we're going to need to see photos at the Oneg. Thank you in advance for that. So, on the basis of all those wonderful things and the things you didn't necessarily share, we're going to sing the Shechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Page 282, please rise for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגוי עלינו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגופי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת. אין עוד ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. יקדש ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Please be seated just before we get into Kaddish in a little moment. If anyone wants to join me at the front, thinking of a loved one, observing a yard site this week, then please come, take one of these stones in your hand, weigh it as you think of your beloved, place it on the table. If you'd like to do that, come and join me. think of Andrew J. Greenfield, friend of Harry McGregor, who died this week, and Linda Garber, sister of Susan, Kathy, Nancy, and Bill, aunt of Hayden. We also think of Bridger Baird, nephew of Hal Gelb. Those who died in the past month: Mordechai Kolodner, Victor Womack, Mina Thompson, Bruce Dorfman, Franklin Nittickman, and Melissa Belkin. If you hear the name of your beloved, please rise as you hear it. And those whose yard sites are observed this week: Myra Aslauer, Ann Bickerman, Jetta Bronstein, Rita Brooker, Joseph B. Bynes, Bradley Carmel, Thomas Casillas, Joseph Cohen, Dan Dale, William Eisen Kramer, Henry Elwood, Bernice Bunny Epstein, Alan Ehrenberg, Kenneth Fox, Francis Glickman, Ben Goldberg, Margaret Golden, Sidney Hirsch, June Hurst, Leon Joseph, Betty Kahn, S. Harrison Kahn, Jerry Cantor, Paul Kaplan, Phyllis Kassman, Sue Kaufman, Marvin Kipper, Albert Crone, Harry Mark, Mayor Marmis, Milton Meislin, Augustus Miller, Donald Millstone, Raisa Millman, Ida Meyerson, Marilyn Nadel, Alan Rabin, Minerva Ryan, John Reich, Benjamin Rosen, Nathan Rosenfeld, Michael Rubin, Sophie Rubenstein, Philip Ruskin, Julian Sire, Elizabeth Schlosser, Monica Schumann, Pearl Shapiro, Joseph Shapiro, Frida Schenkerau, Harry Silver, Rose Silver, Morris Silverman, Murray Spielker, Judge Norman Stiller, and Elaine Wall. Is there anyone in the room who wants to add the name of their beloved that we didn't mention? Thank you. Thank you. Would everyone please rise to support the mourners as we say on page 294, Yitgadav Yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, Ba'alma Divrach Yirutei V'yamlech Malchutei, V'chai Echon U'yom Echon U'chayei D'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala V'zman Kariv V'imru,
Amen.
Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Olamei Almaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitba'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh, V'yitada V'yitalev V'yitalal Shemei D'Kudisha B'richu, Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tushbechata V'nechemata, Damiran Ba'alma V'imru,
Amen.
Yehei Shalom Rabbah Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru,
Amen.
Oseh Shalom B'mromav, U'yaseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, V'imru,
Amen.
V'imru, 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 Amen. V'imru, 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 Amen. All right, we need the fourth, fifth graders and their families. Come over here. We're going to really get into some serious grape juice here. Everyone grab one. There's plenty to go around. And if there's any grown-ups in your life here, then give them, share the love, okay? We're going to recite Kiddush together.
Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam,
borei
peri agafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lama'aseh v'reshit
Ki hu yom tehillah lemikroei kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim ki vanu v'chata ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodeshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchatanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-shabbat.
Amen.
Chaim to life. Of course, they're plastic cups. If you knock them together, you have to go ding. All right? Make the noise yourself. All right, grab the challah. Or touch someone who's, oh yeah, they've all got their own individual roles. All right, so grab, that's right. All right, now you're going to hold the main challah. So grab a challah roll, or someone who's touching the challah roll, or someone who's touching someone who's touching the challah roll. I need the whole congregation and sanctuary to get involved so everybody's connected somehow by the power of challah. As we say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Te'avon. Eat some challah. And then we'll get you students to help us with our final song. Come up here on the steps. You know your position. You can sing and eat challah at the same time. It's possible to multitask. I'm going to sing a Tree of Life. Please join in with us. Might as well stand up, okay? So we can move around.
It is a
Tree of life to those who hold fast to it. All of its supporters are happy. It's a tree of life
To those who hold fast to it, all of its supporters are happy. Shalom, shalom.
It is a tree.
Shalom, shalom.
It's not a bush.
Shalom, shalom.
The tree of life.
Shalom, shalom.
1, 2, 3, 4. It's
Chaim chila machazikim b'vatomeha meusha etz chaim chila machazikim b'vatomeha meusha. Shalom, shalom.
It's a tree.
Shalom, shalom.
It's not a bush.
Shalom, shalom.
The tree of life.
Shalom, shalom. Shalom. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.